Hello everyone, welcome to Aspire High channel, an education content channel primarily intended for management studies. In this video session, we shall discuss the last but one unit, that is unit 13, grievance handling and discipline management procedures. We shall focus on the important questions and suggested answers for the coming term examination this month. The important topics from the examination point of view for the coming term examination from unit 13 were already identified in our earlier analysis of previous question papers done blockwise. They are once again listed here: causes of grievance, effects of grievance, grievance handling procedure, grievance management in Indian industry, concept and meaning of discipline, indiscipline, and disciplinary action procedure. Let us have a brief introduction to this unit 13. So here we shall see what is meant by grievance. As usually, we are always trying to have a definition so that the answers we write for the 20 marks questions will be effective. Julius Bernstein, USA, way back in 1950, came out with a definition for grievance. He was a management scholar. Grievance is defined as any discontent or dissatisfaction, whether expressed or not, whether valid or not, arising out of anything connected with the company which an employee thinks, believes, or even feels to be unfair, unjust, or inequitable. That's a very interesting and a broad-based definition for grievance. Here, if you see, there are many points here. If we try to understand, we will have a broad view of what a grievance is. Any discontent or dissatisfaction, whether expressed or not. That means even if it is not expressed, if he is feeling, his morale is going to be affected. That is why we have to take cognizance of that. Whether valid or not, from his side he may be right. From the management side, his grievance has no validity. That means it won't fit into the structure of the organization or already well established systems and procedures of the organization. But on his side, he may be feeling that it is a dissatisfaction arising out of anything connected with the company which an employee thinks, believes, or even feels to be unfair, unjust, or inequitable. This is the definition. So here there are three stages of dissatisfactions. First is just a simple dissatisfaction, whether or not the unrest is expressed in words, but his mood changes. So one dissatisfaction is there, simply that his boss is not treating him well, not recognizing the good work he is doing, but he will keep silence, he won't express it to anybody. But because of that feeling, the dissatisfaction, his mood is off and he may not be working effectively. So that is simple dissatisfaction. But when it becomes complaint, that is a spoken or a written dissatisfaction brought to the attention of the supervisor. Simply he says, "Sir, I am not satisfied." That is a complaint. The fundamental difference between complaint and grievance you have to see here. A complaint that has been formally presented to a management representative or to a union official, that is, he doesn't like to leave the subject, that is called grievance. So instead of simply giving it, he will fight on that. That is, he will continue to pursue his grievance or his complaint. What has happened to my complaint? He will take up the matter with his union people. He will take up with the senior higher officials in the management side. So that means it gets the basic dissatisfaction first transforms into a complaint and later crystallizes in the form of a grievance. These are the differentiations among dissatisfaction, complaint, and grievance. Second topic is causes of grievance, and the subsequent topic is effects of grievance. Both are important from the examination point of view. They were asked once in the previous term examination. So accordingly, we are listing here point wise, that is 5 points causes of grievance. The first one is wage grievance. Wage grievances are actually related to whatever that is related to monetary payments. like the salary or wage or overtime payment or bonus, etc., discrimination in such payments. So that is parity is not maintained. That leads to a grievance. Next comes the supervision. Supervision means the treatment of the supervisor as far as the dignity and respect of the employee is concerned. That may lead to actually bigger grievances sometimes. Working conditions relate to safety and health issues and even basic amenities, lack of basic amenities like proper lighting, etc. Seniority and promotions, every organization will have a code of conduct, every organization will have a manpower policy and also service regulations which speak of the seniority and also internal promotions. If they are not properly administered and properly effected, then it will lead to grievance, and such grievances sometimes even move or get escalated to a court of law also. Next comes the discipline issues. As far as discipline is also concerned, every organization will have certain standard service regulations. Their code of conduct will be defined, and the discipline, the opposite of it is indiscipline. They are all going to be defined like a minor misconduct, major misconduct, and there also some procedure will be there on how to handle them, how to put things into order. But if they are also violated and unjust way of removal from service, etc., will lead to a grievance or unjust imposition of a major punishment or penalty when it doesn't warrant that, then definitely it will lead to a grievance. So in this way we can see some broad causes of grievance: wage grievance, supervision, working conditions, seniority and promotions, and discipline. The next topic, effects of grievance. The effects could be noticed on three counts. The first one is an organization, second is on employees, third is on managers. Managers are supervisors. In respect of organization, the effects of grievance could be low quality of production, low level of productivity, increase in wastage of material, etc., and increase in cost of production. That means the employee, because of the grievances he is having, he is not serious about pursuit of his duties. He will be somewhat dissatisfied person, but somehow attending to work from 10 to 5, automatically all these effects will come. That is low quality of production, low level of productivity, wastage of material, and increase in cost of production. And the employee, on the employee side, the effect, it leads to increases the rate of absenteeism and turnover. That is, what will happen is, absenteeism means he goes on leave because he is a dissatisfied person. He will simply apply one type of leave or other. He won't find any enthusiasm to come to office or workplace and do the job. Second is, the reduces the level of commitment, sincerity and punctuality. These are all interrelated, and increases the incidence of accidents. Because of his dissatisfaction, he won't have proper concentration also. Yeah, and the employee's morale is already affected. So ultimately it results in absenteeism and lack of commitments. In sometimes probability of getting involved in an accident also will be high. And the third one is, and the supervisors or managers, it strains the superior subordinate relations. That means the relations won't be comfortable. What we say is, we always talk of good industrial relations, good employer-employee relations, but that gets affected because of the grievances. Grievances could be there if they are not properly addressed, and if that means to say that if the grievance redressal mechanism is not properly put in place and is not implemented in true spirit, then automatically these things will happen. Increases the degree of supervision, control and follow up. That is another point. That means why? Because the superior is, that means that the supervisor or the manager is not having confidence because of the grievance already expressed by the subordinate, and he is not actually putting his best at job. Then automatically more and more supervision, more and more control, and more and more follow up will be felt by the superior. It will be felt by the superior because he is not having confidence on the functioning of the subordinate. And also because of all these reasons, always some friction will be there between the supervisor and the employee, and disciplinary matters will turn up, and more cases, more discipline cases will be there. Grievance handling procedure is an important topic from the examination point of view. It is normally asked as a 20 marks question, and let us have a look at this flow chart. Grievance handling procedure. There are 4 levels at which the grievance is normally going to be addressed to. For example, the aggrieved employee either expresses his or reports his grievance to the supervisor or to the unit secretary within his functional area, that is within the department, unit secretary of the trade union of which he is a member. So what will happen? The union person will take up the matter with the supervisor, and also supervisor also responds to directly to the union representative, saying that I have taken note of the grievance of your employee. No, he is not right in raising those points. He is not in order, he may say, or he may even say that the grievance is found to be genuine, I am going to resolve. That may also happen. So anyhow, either the aggrieved employee is going to report directly to the supervisor or through the union representative at his level. At his level means unit secretary within the department. The second step is, if the grievance is not resolved at the level of the supervisor, it gets escalated to the middle management. Either the supervisor directly reports to the middle management, or the union representative at the unit level reports his office bearer at a higher level. So then because the supervisor has already escalated the matter to the middle management level or intermediate level, then the middle management level officials will speak to the corresponding higher level office bearers of the union. So automatically there will be an interaction at that level also between the trade union and the management, and the grievance may get resolved at that stage. If it is not resolved even at that stage, it will get moved or escalated to the next level, that is level 3, organization level. Organization level means the top management from the management side and the general secretary or the president from the trade union side. They also interact directly and try to resolve the issue. In the rare case, if it is not resolved at that level, it will go to the level 4, that is third party mediation. Third party mediation means normally it will be outside the organization, like the labor commissioner, who will take up the matter for conciliation, arbitration or adjudication. That is, the labor commissioner will ask both the parties to come and represent their cases and try to bring some understanding or settlement by way of negotiations in his presence, or some arbitration may be possible, or he may pass an order also, he may adjudicate the matter. So in this way, the level 1 is the level at which the aggrieved employee simply reports to the supervisor or the unit secretary level union representative. Next step is level 2, that is middle management level. Next step is the top management level. Otherwise, if it is not resolved even at that level, it gets escalated and it moves out of the organization. So that means an external agency will look into the matter. That is called labor, just now I said labor commissioner. Next comes the steps in grievance handling procedure. This is also identified as an important topic from the examination point of view. Sometimes the question could be briefly mention the steps involved in the grievance handling procedure, like that. So we have identified the 5 steps. The first one is acknowledging the dissatisfaction. That is, the supervisor should not simply brush away the grievance of the employee, saying that there is no grievance at all, unnecessarily he is making a mess, there is no substantial argument in his favor, he is completely making false statements. Like that, he should not simply brush away the grievance at the initial stage itself. First, he should acknowledge the dissatisfaction. There is a dissatisfaction on the part of the employee. First, he should acknowledge. Second is define the problem. What is the problem? First, you should be able to understand and mean in a crystal clear way, that is defining the problem. Next comes, you should make some inquiries and try to get the facts related to the problem that is identified or pointed out by the employee. Later, some analysis has to take place based on analysis of facts, not just rumors or hearsay. And next comes the decision making. You should decide upon the grievance, saying that there is no substance in the grievance, the matter is closed, or you can say that the grievance is justified and I am going to resolve by providing a proper effective solution in this case. Next comes the follow up, whether the resolution that is made is really implemented or not is going to be checked up. In this way, the grievance handling procedure will have 5 steps. One more important point is the grievance handling at a particular level will always have a provision for appeal to the next higher level. So automatically at the next higher level also, you should also acknowledge the problem, acknowledge the dissatisfaction, understand that, take into consideration the views of both the sides, the supervisor and the employee, analyze it, and he may pass a different order or he may concur with the decision already taken by the supervisor. In this way, the grievance handling procedure goes on. Next is the prerequisites of grievance handling procedure. Every organization should put in place a grievance handling procedure or a grievance redressal mechanism. But at the same time, it cannot prepare the procedure or the mechanism in the way it likes. That is, it has to conform with the statutory provisions. It should conform to the statutory provisions. That means whatever laws of land are already defining certain things about the grievance handling procedure, the grievance handling procedure that is prepared by the organization has to conform with them, either the state government act or a central government act. Second is unambiguity. Unambiguity means every employee should know to whom he has to report his grievance. It should be very clear. Otherwise, what happens is it simply leads to discontent or dissatisfaction, and morale of the employee is going to be down and he will not work properly. He won't have interest to work and give his best. So there should be a clear what is called clarity of expression in the grievance handling procedure in black and white, that such and such employee can approach such and such higher authority in redressal of his grievance. Like that, that should be unambiguous. Third one is simplicity. Suppose the handling procedure is written in such a way that it is very difficult to understand what it actually means, then also people will lose interest in knowing about it, or they won't have any faith in its implementation in the organization. It should be simple to understand. Promptness means, the next one is the promptness. The grievance is to be resolved within the timeline that is mentioned in the grievance handling procedure. Normally 15 days time will be there at each level, that is at the first level, second level, third level. But if it is not adhered to, and if it is taking 3 months or 4 months time, then the employee will lose interest, and other employees later at a later date, knowing all these things, it may not come out with their grievances because they won't have faith in the system. The next one is training. That is, when we said it should be unambiguous, it should be simple. The same thing is to be made known to everybody in the organization. For that, both the employees and also the representatives of the trade unions should be made aware of the actual content of the grievance handling procedure. Then only employees will have confidence in the system, and trade union people also can guide their employees properly. For that, some workshops are to be conducted. Last one is the follow-up. The HR department has to oversee the functioning of this grievance handling mechanism, and at a frequent interval, say 6 months or so, the department has to check up whether the grievances are handled properly and whether the timelines are met and whether the grievance redressal mechanism is felt by the employees as just and proper. So these are the 6 prerequisites of grievance handling procedure: conformity with statutory provisions, unambiguity in the content and simplicity in the content, promptness in response, training to both the employees and the trade union people, and finally follow up by HR department. The next topic is grievance management in Indian industry. There are 3 important acts in our country which form the backbone of this grievance redressal mechanism in our Indian industries. They are the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946, the Factories Act 1948, and well-known famous Industrial Disputes Act 1947. Let us see the first one, the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946. It insisted that every establishment employing 100 or more workers shall have a standing orders. That means the standing orders are to be invariably put in place. And they contain a provision, among many other things, for redressal of grievances of workers against unfair treatment and wrongful actions by the employer. So, because it is now the grievance redressal mechanism has a statutory backing, Second is, similarly, Factories Act 1948 refers to factories employing 500 or more workers, wherein appointment of a welfare officer is mandatory. They will look after proper implementation of the existing labor legislation and needless to say the entire grievance redressal mechanism. And the Industrial Dispute Act 1947, subsequently amended in 1965, takes care of the major issues like the discharge or dismissal or retrenchment of employees, for which definitely there will be very high level of disputes or what we call grievances from the employee side, because it is affecting their life. Then naturally they can be taken up by the courts on the strength of these provisions of Industrial Dispute Act 1947. Further, a model grievance procedure was adopted by the Indian Labour Conference in 1958. Why this model grievance procedure? Just because nobody is serious about putting in place a grievance redressal mechanism in its true spirit, either in the public sector or in the private sector. For that reason, this was brought out. And Indian industries are advised to adopt this straight away, or they can have some modifications to suit the individual requirements of their organizations. But at the same time, the modifications should be such that they are also fair and equitable. A step forward is a prior to grievance redressal system was attempted in Visakhapatnam Steel Plant and also a National Aluminum Company, NALCO, with good results. It is based on the principle of management by walking around, MBWA it was called. And what does it mean? Normally, an employee will rush to the supervisor if he is very much serious about redressal of his grievance. But in this case, the opposite will happen. Once a grievance issue, that means some employee is having some grievance, it has come to the notice of the management, say by hearsay. Then a management representative will rush to the worker and listens to the grievance and tries to resolve it. It is a proactive way. So, and what happens is, the basic thing that we have to understand here is, the entire workforce will feel that the management has concern towards the employees. That is going to be the message. Whether the individual employees grievance is resolved or not, that is secondary. First, the message that goes to the entire workforce is that the management is having concern towards the employees, their grievances. That is the message. So even if it is not resolved also, the management will convey to the employee stating that, or even if it is not accepted also, if it is not resolved, they will say why it is not immediately resolved, or if it is not accepted, then say that these are the reasons on the strength of which we are saying that your grievance is not justified. But there will be a proper communication. That is important and what's called a very advanced way of attempting this. We are very happy to highlight these two companies, Visakhapatnam Steel Plant and the National Aluminum Company, NALCO, a prior to grievance redressal system. And we have to take note of the essence of this is that, the sincerity of the management is the precondition. Without that, the entire grievance redressal mechanism, in whatever way it is drafted, will only remain on paper. The next topic is concept and meaning of discipline. We shall later see in the next topic, as the next topic, the indiscipline also. This is the positive side. Discipline is defined by Rue and Byers of USA in their book titled Human Resource Management in 1996 as a condition within an organization whereby employees know what is expected of them in terms of the rules, standards and policies of the organization, and what happens if they are breached, if they are not adhered to. Consequences, what the consequences are of infractions. Infractions means if they are violated. So in this way discipline is defined. Basically words like discipline and discipline, all these things are basically known to us in common parlance, but however from the examination point of view we should be able to structure our answers because we have to get higher marks. So we should not write simply what we know about discipline. We should be able to write in a systematic way and we have to structure our answer to get higher marks. Discipline is defined like this, and there are three types of disciplines: negative discipline, positive discipline and self-discipline. Negative discipline means if you won't adhere to the rules and regulations of the organization, the employee will be clearly be conveyed that he will be punished. That means a penalty could be imposed. It could be a minor penalty or major penalty depending on the gravity of the allegation that is leveled and proved. Next comes the positive discipline. Here in the positive discipline, what happens is the employee will not bother about these penalties. He will have a desire to cooperate with the management in achieving the common goal of the organization. That means it is a positive approach. He will adhere to the rules and regulations not because of the fear of punishment. No, it is not because of that. There is an inherent desire to work hard, to give his best and contribute to the common goal of the organization. That is called positive discipline. The third one is a very lofty ideal, self-discipline. It is a step above positive discipline. That is, self-discipline means the employee will feel that for the development of himself, he has to have some self-control for the purpose of adjusting oneself to certain needs and demands. That means he will adjust to the environment within the organization, and his focus is not only on contributing to the development of the organization or objectives of the organization, but also to the development of himself or herself. That is called self-discipline. So in this way we can understand this concept and meaning of discipline. Normally these things are expected as short note questions. The next one is indiscipline. Next comes the indiscipline, the opposite of the discipline. So it is easy to understand. Indiscipline is defined as any behavior by an employee that deviates from the norms, rules, regulations, everything of the organization. They may include even undermining the authority of the management. This is very, very important. Not just creating problems at the workplace, not just contributing less, thereby affecting productivity, but also undermining the authority of management. It will also come under indiscipline, and also a very serious one also. Some of the acts of misconduct are also mentioned in the Model Standing Orders as per Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act of 1946, just now discussed. So here, what is misconduct is already spelled out with some examples. So insubordination, assault or threat to superior officers, defamation, making false complaints are all acts of indiscipline. In fact, very serious ones also. Non-performance of work during working hours, tampering with official records, misappropriation of accounts, or indiscipline are also acts of indiscipline. Not only that, they are of a serious nature. They are called grave irregularities that may warrant even removal from service. The last topic in this unit is disciplinary action procedure. Whenever a misconduct is committed by an employee or said to be committed by the employee, or a complaint is there to that effect, the first and foremost thing that should be done by the organization is to order a preliminary inquiry. The inquiry report will be examined by the disciplinary authority, and he will try to assess the allegations originally made against the employee and the findings of this preliminary inquiry report. Then he will take a call whether to close it at that level or simply close it by cautioning the employee. But normally it is not done like that. An opportunity to be heard from the employee in writing will always be there. So a memorandum will be issued to the employee asking him to explain the reasons for these observations, that is attribution of misconduct. So then automatically the reply will be assessed vis-a-vis the original memorandum. Then the disciplinary authority can take a call whether to close it with a caution or to simply take on record that the employee stand itself is correct, the complaint is false, and the allegations are against the employee are not supported by facts, and the statement given by the employee is supported by the facts or documentary evidences. Then the entire matter could be closed at that level only. Then we can say that no disciplinary action procedure was initiated at all against the employee. But if the reply to the memorandum is found to be unsatisfactory, then the next stage will come. Here actually there are three levels for all these matters. The first is the disciplinary authority level, second is appellate authority, third is reviewing authority. In certain organizations, there will be only two levels, disciplinary authority and appellate authority. And in case of any issue beyond that, it will be taken up by way of an appeal in a high court against the organization. So what happens is the next stage will be issue of charge sheet. If the reply to the memorandum is found to be unsatisfactory, a charge sheet will be issued. The charge sheet will have statement of allegations and also articles of charge. Based on these allegations, these are the attributions against you. That is with reference to so and so regulation of the service regulations, you have violated them, like that. Then the reply to the charge sheet, for that some 15 days time will be there, and the employee will normally submit a reply to the charge sheet, and then once again the reply to the charge sheet and the original charge sheet, that is the statement of allegations, are to be assessed carefully by the disciplinary authority, and a considered view is to be taken whether even at that stage also whether the matter could be closed with some censure like that. Otherwise, he may prefer to order a domestic inquiry. Here one important point one has to understand is, at this stage also there is a provision for placing the employee under suspension, because several courts said that suspension is not a punishment. Therefore, it is the sole discretion of the disciplinary authority to place the employee under suspension or to continue him in service and allow the inquiry procedure to continue. So then a notice for holding the inquiry will be given, an inquiry officer will be appointed, and a presenting officer, that means who represents the management's case, will be appointed. The employee will be given an opportunity to defend the case on himself, on his own, or he can engage a defense representative. Normally a trade union representative will be taking up the matter as a defense representative for the case, and the inquiry will be conducted. There will be a well-established procedure for the conduct of the inquiry, which is beyond the scope of this video session. And the inquiry officer will submit the final report. The fundamental thing in the conduct of inquiry is a fair and equitable opportunity will be given to the defense side to defend their case, and principles of natural justice will be followed by the inquiry officer and has to be followed by the inquiry officer. Otherwise, the entire inquiry will become null and void in the eyes of the court of law. Okay. So for that, the well-established procedure is going to be there, and the adequate training will be given to the persons who are handling this inquiry officer role and also presenting officer role. and the inquiry report will be submitted to the disciplinary authority, and the disciplinary authority, based on the findings of the inquiry report, whether so and so charge is proved or not, partly proved or not proved, based on that he will pass final orders. There will be specific provisions for imposition of minor penalty or major penalty depending on the gravity of the allegations leveled and proved. Based on that, he will impose a penalty, and there will be always an appeal provision against the penalty that is imposed by the disciplinary authority on the employee. This is the sequence of steps involved in disciplinary action procedure. It is a broad view. It is a very big subject actually. So it is a broad view from the examination point of view. With this, we shall conclude the discussion on Unit 13. Thanks for watching. We shall meet in our next video presentation coming up very shortly, wherein we shall take up the last unit, Unit 14. And we have almost come to the conclusion of our course, MMPC 2 of our IGNOU MBA program, Human Resource Management. I request all the viewers to subscribe to the channel if not already done, and also feedback in the comment section is most welcome from the students, which will be of help in modulating the content and content delivery way forward in our future video sessions, and also to decide upon the courses that could be taken up in the next semester from the IGNOU MBA program. Once again, thank you one and all for watching.